Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of the Turfway Park replay review. I'm CC Broaddus, and I'm joined. Let's go around the table. Geoff Riggs, the bearded handicapper. Say hello.
What's going on, CC? I can't believe it's been 5 weeks already. I feel like we just did our first one.
Exactly right. Yeah, and I've taken a lot of lumps along the way, but we'll talk about that later. Alan Schneider is here, the Ice King of Fern Creek.
That's what it feels like the last couple of days. I won't lie to you, but I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
You want shaved ice, go to Alan.
It's all over the front yard.
And Trey, Ashtray, sir, Ashtray, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I just came up with that. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
You
sounds
like
terrible.
That's a great nickname. You, the Ashtray.
No, thank you.
All right. Why are we here? We want to talk about our favorite winter track, the Winter Olympics at Turfway Park. We were looking for great performances, bad trips, horses to watch, something that can help your handicapping going further. We had a few of our horses came back to run last week. Mixed results. Less is best. I know ran second in a stake, and 3 on the Tree ran third. And my stupid horse, Al Jibe, ran up the track, but I doubled down on that mistake. I left off Alder. I should have actually concentrated on him. I like 2 horses coming out of the same race. I didn't like I like a Jibe better than I did Alder, and that blew up my face. Alder won at 13-1, but there's plenty more coming. I know there's a few entered this week, but let's get right into it. Let's review the week. A jockey of the week, the Bug Boy, former podcast guest Irving Moncada, had 8 wins. Congratulations to him. He's really come to hand as of late. Really improved dramatically in the last 2 months. So congratulations. Yeah. What a job he's done. And then trainer of the week, another former podcast guest, John Ennis, 3 wins, tied with Tommy Drury for most for the week. But the stakes win on Saturday in the Turfway Prevue tipped the scales to John Ennis. So congratulations to both Irving Moncada and John Ennis. All right, let's take a break and let's hear from our friends from twinspires.com. We'll be right back.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With TwinSpires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with TwinSpires. And now you can race to victory with TwinSpires tournaments.
All right, let's get the action started. A Wednesday card and the Gowell Stakes kicked off the week. Alan, let's talk about the Gowell Stakes.
Oh, you got it, my man. Yeah, as you mentioned, the first day of every new year brings out the Gowell Stakes, however you want to say. It's for 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs, and this year's edition produces a 10-1 upset by Grace on Grace, trained by longtime conditioner and fan favorite Larry Demerit. We'll take a look at the running right here. Adam Mishit's on the race favorite, My Little Punk. He gives the horse a really good ride. Breaks on top, going fairly slow fractions, and Grace on Grace settles in 5th right here. Joe Billmore engages My Little Punky at the top of the stretch. We'll let Tony take over from right here.
Right alongside of her, and they have been joined by Grace on Grace. Less is best, still at the back marker. 5 lengths covers the 6 3-year-old fillies. Here's Wisconsin Gal trying to poke her nose in front of My Little Punky. My Little Punky clings to a narrow lead. Wisconsin Gal's running a brave race at a big number under Joe Belmer. It is Wisconsin Gal who comes away with the lead. My Little Punky is there. Here comes Grace on Grace and Fernando de la Cruz. She's all charm is fourth, then Kiana and Less is best. Wisconsin Gal off the turn in the go well. But coming back at her is My Little Punky. And there's My Little Punky along the inside. And Grace on Grace. And to the far outside, Less is best. Grace on Grace has come away with the lead in deep stretch. Grace on Grace and Fernando de la Cruz win the Gowell Stakes. Less is best was second. And farther back, My Little Punky with She's All Charm, Wisconsin Gal, and Kiana. $112 and 16/100.
Yeah, you'll see Grace on Grace eventually does score there for Larry Demerit. And as I mentioned earlier, fan favorite Larry had his first Derby starter this year with West Saratoga. And this horse, Grace on Grace, bears a lot of resemblance to West Saratoga. They both broke their maiden and overall softer company. They both improved incrementally as they went on. Really started blossom as 3-year-olds, cashing those big checks like Grace on Grace just did. So I think everybody would love it. I know everybody on the backside, a lot of fans would love it if Grace on Grace took the same path and ended up racing on Derby Day in the Kentucky Oaks for Larry Demerit. It's always good to see the good guys do very well, and this one added his bag of tricks.
Indeed, he did. All right, let's go to Thursday now. This is race number 6. Trey wants to talk about Mindrell.
Yeah, so this particular horse is coming off of a almost 2-year layoff, and I was tipped on this horse by multiple people saying that this horse was live. So I was expecting a big result. The horse ran well in defeat. As you see here in this replay, he breaks a little slow, kind of mid-pack. And the 6 horse goes to the front. He's the 7 horse. And as you see, Gabe Saez splits horses and comes right up behind him. And for me, I wish Saez would have kind of sat here and just stay chilly. The 8 horse is the eventual winner, but instead he goes up the rail and engages a 33-1 long shot. And I wish he would either push through and said, "Okay, let's go," or sat back in this where the 8 horse is now. And then you get to the top of the stretch, and the 8 horse makes this turfway move, as I like to call it. 3 wide using the turn to get a little momentum, and then just draws off. And the 7 horse kind of levels off. Saez tries to get him to switch leads, messes with the head, which for me again is not, kind of a pet peeve of mine. Maybe it doesn't make much of a difference, and at least in this particular race, it doesn't. As these apples wins easy, and Mindrell kind of fades to 4th. But I would expect him to improve off of that effort, after a 2-year layoff, and they hope for big things from this horse. So I would hope for big things as well. So something to put in your mailbox and look for later.
Mindrell, a daughter of Blame, 4-year-old daughter of Blame, out of a Broken Vow mare. We all know Blame had a really good 4-year-old season, won the Breeders' Cup Classic, beating Zenyatta several years ago at Churchill Downs. Looking forward to Mindrell in her next start. Let's go now to Friday, and we're going to bring Geoff Riggs in for race number 3. Let's talk about High Five Psy.
Yeah, we're going back to my patented maiden claimers for this one, CC. This is where I like to try and find the value, especially in the trips. And yeah, High Five Psy, we look at, you check out the replay here, definitely squeezed. Had to take up just a little bit at the start and then lost a ton of ground. And these 6 furlong races at this level, I mean, got no chance to win the race from here, absolutely. But I thought did a pretty good job of recovering. Still on the back here, you can see in the 7. starts to make a little bit of a move here going into the turn and has to navigate traffic a little bit. Thought about going wide, but wanted to not lose too much ground. So we're having to dodge this horse that's slamming on the brakes already going into the turn. But as we get past that one and entering the turn, starts moving pretty well actually, but has to go wide just given all the traffic in front of High Five Psy. So goes out of the camera there for a second, but when he comes back in, you can see that he's starting to slingshot around the turn. Does have to go widest of all. But once he gets there, really kicks in well and finishes up very well here. To actually end up second in this race, which I was impressed by. I thought it was a good run even before we got there, but finished well. I thought only being the fifth lifetime start for this one, second time at Turfway Park, that big improvement this race here that we saw from the first four, maybe the light bulb went on for this one and just kind of figured something out, figured out what his job was, because he really hadn't beaten very many horses so far yet in his career. So just wanted to keep an eye on coming back at this level next time. I think could probably repeat that or even improve a little bit next time.
High Five Psy. Alan, I know you want to say something real quick. High Five Psy is by Gervin, who very prolific sire. Go ahead, Alan.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't have the PPs in front of me, but isn't that Glenn Wismer's horse, Mr.
It is.
Riggs?
Yep.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know. Again, I'm very old. I'm almost 55 years old. I remember the heyday of Turfway back in the 90s when it really just started to blossom before it tailed off and came back. Glenn Wismer used to dominate at Turfway in the 90s. He used to absolutely dominate, him and Willie Martinez. And I'm sure CC knows what I'm getting ready to say too. A lot of people don't realize Glenn Wismer won the Kentucky Oaks back in the day, right? CC with Love Me Not, or who was it?
That's it.
Early 90s. So when you see that name Glenn Wismer in a program, a lot of times we see these names, we don't really associate them with whatever, but these guys paved the path or whatever, and Glenn Wismer is one of the guys that did it. So I'll be looking for that. And he's always dangerous as well, too. So I'm with you on that one, Mr. Riggs.
Let's tie everything up. Love Me Not won the Gowell Stakes in 1991 for Wismer.
There you go.
All comes back around, doesn't it?
Right. Small world. All right. Later that evening, Geoff, let's talk about Chantry Flats in race number 8. The venerable 10-year-old. Let's go. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, this was interesting. As you said, 10-year-old Chantry Flats was actually favored in this race for Troy Newton. After a really nice race last time out, game nose defeat last time. As we look at the replay, broke fine is the 10 horse. So out wide, broke with the field, but is stuck kind of wide going into that first turn. So has to go back off the pace here and ends up losing some ground, as we see so often going into that quick first turn. Has to drop way back, ends up second to last here. And going down the backstretch, I think we're probably okay, just chilling back here. And then we decide to make this kind of interesting sweeping middle move wide deal. I wasn't sure that was the right play. It seemed like a little bit of a panic move, but had to go very, very wide and was trying to, I think, sweep up to the leaders and didn't quite just have the juice to do so, being so wide. And then as we approach the turn here, you can tell that we're not doing our best running on the far outside and actually keep getting shuffled back. And as they go into the turn, we are dead last and losing contact with the field, it seems. At this point, I thought the favorite Chantry Flats might get totally eased, being a 10-year-old, as we were talking about, maybe just totally done with running, doesn't want to do this anymore. But I thought it was interesting that he kept trying. So it comes back into the screen here as we enter the stretch, and still looks like he's easily going to run last. And the jockey's not really, trying to get a whole bunch out of him, but he ends up passing, I believe, 3, maybe 4 horses here at the end when they hit the wire. So he was running on decently late. It was just one of those where it was a weird trip. Favored, ran so well last time, likes Turfway Park so much. all the chart says is just never a threat. So I think a lot of people are going to be scared off of this one next time. Maybe rightfully so. Maybe he just doesn't want to run anymore. But he's proven to love Turfway, and at one of these lower levels, I think I'm willing to give him another chance. I think enough weird stuff happened in that race that maybe we can get a price on him next time and double down.
All right, I like the thought there. Yeah, Chantry Flats for Troy Newton. Always loves Turfway Park. Let's see what he can do going forward. Now it's my turn. I want to talk about Saturday. We're going to talk about a nickel claimer. And this is race number 2 on Saturday evening. I want to talk about Mamba Quake, a horse that broke from the rail, took a big drop for relatively obscure connections. And let's take a look here as the horse breaks well from the gate. And as you can see, breaks alertly. He's fine here. One thing breaking from the rail at Turfway, if you don't go to the lead and you don't drop to the back, it's kind of a roll your dice kind of move. And the horse does fine here. As you can see, he's in good shape, but then the 2 horse kind of comes over on him, and there you go. And the horse loses about 3 lengths. So now you're going to plan B, and you're just going to have to wait and see what unfolds in front of you. And the jock doesn't panic or anything. And then he goes into the turn here, as you can see, and he's going to have to check one more time. And there he goes. He checks, and his race is done. Now, I don't know if we had a runaway winner here. Irving Moncada won the race aboard Cog by several lengths. So I don't know if Mamba Quake would have factored, but it definitely cost him second. And the rider gets into him here, and he does finish well to get up for third. And I thought this was a pretty good effort considering all the trouble. As you can see here, he levels off pretty well and finishes third behind the runaway winner. Now, a couple things we want to talk about in the aftermath of this race. If you go to the chart, I'm pulling a page out of the Geoff Riggs playbook, Mamba Quake.
Here we go.
Here's the running line. Mamba Quake, no speed to the turn, rallied along into stretch, improved for third. That doesn't quite explain the trip. I think he had a whole lot more trouble than that. Like I said, I thought it cost him 3 or 4 lengths total, counting the 2 incidents. Now, the second thing we want to take a look at, the horse was claimed. He's claimed by Shane Myers. Now, here's our problem. Shane Myers races a lot at Mahoning Valley. So this is one you're going to have to put in your stable mail. Maybe he'll pop up along the way at Mahoning Valley. I think the horse is he's better than a nickel claimer just based on what I saw here. So if he shows up at Turfway, if he shows up at Mahoning Valley, I think he's worth a bet if they hike him in class. And, that's all I'll say. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, the only reason we cover these races is because they allow us to bet on them. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to bet on I'm going to bet on Mamba Quake next time in a reasonable spot. All right. And the last race we're going to cover on Saturday evening is race number 6, the Turfway Prevue Stakes. Alan, let's talk about the last stakes of the week.
You got it, my man. We're going to conclude with some very early Derby dreaming here. This is called the Turfway Prevue Stakes, and it's for 3-year-olds going 6 furlongs, right? Early part of January, we get to see these babies turn 3, get a new birthday and stuff. So in this spot, the even money favorite is a horse called Touchy for the Wesley Ward born, who actually gets Joel Rosario into ride. You don't see that very often. So unfortunately for Joel and Wesley, it's the aptly named Coming in Hot who gets the job done for, once again, John Ennis and Irving Moncada, as they've both been coming in hot to kick off this meet. As we pick up the action here, you'll see the long shot Killjoy has the lead, and Touchy, who did break a little slow and does go on heels a little bit here, waiting for Killjoy to stop, waiting for his move, but eventually does get a really nice trip up the rail for Joel Rosario. But at the end of the day, we'll let Tony Kalo, who can do this much better than I can, take over, because Irving makes a great move here once Killjoy fades out. And again, we'll let Tony pick up the call here because he's the best that there is.
outside. Coming in hot is looking for somewhere to go, and Touchy's going to pull his way on through along the inside, and Coming in hot's going to follow after him. Touchy has come away with the lead. Here's Coming in hot, tipping into the two-path. Touchy's the leader for how long, though? Coming in hot's right on by. Coming in hot, indeed he is coming in hot, and he's rolling right on by, and Touchy has nothing in response. Now he shifts to the outside, tries to re-rally late, but Coming in hot gets it done with Irving Mancata in the 30th running of the Turfway Prevue. Touchy was second best, then up to No Good and Killjoy.
I mean, how good is this kid, Irving Mancata? How big a thrill was that for him to not only have such a great, I think he had 4 wins on Saturday, but also to outride a guy named Joel Rosario down the stretch. That goes eye to eye with him, goes right on by. Just a great timing on him to make that move. And again, Coming in hot was coming in off a dominant win. He had already won a couple weeks earlier at Turfway. The 12-1 morning line was a pipe dream. That was never going to happen. I believe his backers ended up getting 7-2, which is far more realistic and a fair price. But this horse Coming in hot is just another carbon copy example of horses that improve each start up for John Ennis, and they end up consistently bagging big victories, and they usually at overlaid prices. John Ennis made his name a couple years ago, taking on Wesley Ward in the 2-year-old races in the spring meet at Keeneland. That's where he kind of got on people's radars if you didn't already know him. But since then, he's proven he's much more than that. And ironically, in this race, he bags a stakes victory in an early Derby prep, getting the best of one Wesley Ward. So we'll see if this one can stretch out. He obviously loves a Turfway surface. Maybe the Battaglia's down the road. I guess the Geoff Ruby and Mile 8 is way on down the road, but we'll see what this horse wants to do. But again, John Ennis, Irving Mancata, Tom Drury, and Irving Mancata are just kicking butt and taking names throughout this Turfway meet so far.
All right. That's all for this week. We want to remind everybody now with the snowfall and the iced over roads, there's no racing on Wednesday or Thursday. Looks like we're going to have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday card.
Something could happen Friday and Saturday too. I mean, the temperature is still going to be pretty damn low. So, I mean, it's tentative that they race on Friday, right?
Yeah, they're calling for more snow this weekend too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Could take the whole week off. We'll see.
I love
Thank
snow.
God.
I love snow, but even more than that, I love ice.
Yeah.
I love ice on my drinks. I love ice on the roads. I love ice in my cream.
You like iced coffee?
Yeah.
I don't like coffee.
Drinking right now.
If they do race Friday, there is a pick 5 carryover. Races 5 through 9. I know Alan is very interested in that pick 5 sequence. I think I read that on X today.
Well, I will be honest with you. I looked at that glance at the other day. I thought it was impossible. And just because there's something with the carryover doesn't mean I'm going to play it. But I did take another look. It's not quite as challenging as I thought it would. But again, it's Turfway. There's full fields, which is what we love. So anyone at Turfway is challenging. It's not as challenging as I initially thought. But then again, there's no guarantee they race Friday, right?
No, there's not. Last point, I would think, just from my point of view, just from what we've seen, there's a few things that there are horses that handle the track, and there are horses that don't. I think previous turf form does not necessarily translate into success at Turfway.
That's a cliche. People use it. I don't believe either. Yes, I agree with you.
And even horses from other surfaces, like Woodbine has an all-weather surface. I don't think that necessarily translates well to Turfway. It could be a class thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and there's a handful of trainers that get better efforts here than they do elsewhere, like John Ennis, Eric Foster, Tommy Drury does well. So yeah, keep an eye on those trainers going.
Can I say one thing real quick? I tell you, it's probably a little too late in the meet to see this, but one of the key things at Turfway is if you see horses, whether it be in a 1-mile race or a 6-furlong race, if they make a move from the back and they make a long, improved effort with a long, sustained move, or they say they're 10th early and they make a solid run to be 3rd, right? They've proven they like the surface. They've woken up. And then the next time I can think of 3 or 4 off the top of my head, they made the 10th the 3rd move, the 9th the 2nd move, and they'll win next time. It's those Brisnet late pace figures mean a lot for those type horses. If the track is fair and it's playing the closers, oftentimes you get the horse with a second start who's made one long improved run from the back to hit the board. They're usually good bets next time out. But again, we made mistakes already into January, but that is something to keep in mind perhaps next year.
The high five side trip. That's what I'm hoping for. Alan.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's Luan Machado's really good at that trip as well too, right? So and there's some other guys like that, Abel Cedillo, this and that. So yeah, I agree with you there, Geoff.
Yeah, before we head out, I got to shout out our friend Caitlin Free, right? She's been absolutely on fire with her selections and analysis of everything. So, yeah, make sure you check out her picks on X and on the broadcast as well.
It's Caitlin Free. She's free. They're free. And I've been following Turfway for a long time. I've known her for a long time. Caitlin knows the racetrack. She knows the circuit. This isn't a joke. She does know what she's talking. Is she going to pick the winner every race? No. But she's going to go for prices. She understands the racetrack. She understands the horse population. And yeah, she's been doing very, very well.
But can she drive on iced roads?
I think, well, she's from Ohio, so she probably can.
I don't know.
We'll see. Have you heard otherwise?
We'll have to find out. That's all I know.
All
All right. That's it. We're going to hang it up for the night. We'll call it a night on behalf of Alan Schneider, Geoff Riggs, Trey Server. I'm CC Broaddus, reminding you that gambling money ain't got no home. Good night.